The Miao are an ancient ethnic group living in parts of southwestern China. Because they inhabit some of the more isolated mountainous areas of the country, they have kept many of their traditional religious practices alive. Shamans still play an important role in Miao community life, although these days they have adapted some of their religious activities as performances designed to entertain visitors.
The roots of Chinese exorcism are in ancient festivals, celebrated to drive away the devil causing plague. It's a kind of a cultural phenomenon of primitive religions. It mainly involves rituals, plays, skills, and masks. Skill performances like climbing a mountain of swords and jumping into a sea of flames are called exorcism skills. In the eastern part of China's Chiyou province, there's a group of people called Masters of Exorcism. Legend has it that these people are skillful at magic. They are Acheulean, fear neither water nor fire. They can communicate with gods and can tell the future. Do such people really exist? What's the secret of their invulnerability? In a Miao village, inaccessible to vehicles, we found a master of exorcism, Long Zhongshu. Limited by the area of the place, the master cannot immediately perform his skills of climbing up a mountain of swords or jumping into a sea of flames. But he promised to demonstrate the use of magic to bring two split bamboos together into one, and then split them again. Long Zhu goes to cut a bamboo from a courtyard. Everyone finds it interesting that Long Zhongshu spoke to the bamboos, but no one seems to have wondered why he made such a prey. After getting the bamboos ready, Long Zhongshu put on his magic clothes and is ready for the performance. It's said that when a master of exorcism practices magic, his eyes turn red. Everyone is closely observing the change in his eyes. In order to show that his skills are real and truly magic, Long Zhongshu asks for the cooperation of our photography team.
现在我们需要做什么呢？
现在你们来的时间来洗冲我，洗冲我的话，拿两块竹片，拿起不动，他会自己弄的，喊他弄的，你们又分开的，我又请他又分开。
The performance begins, and Long Zhongshu keeps murmuring to himself. He says he's asking for help from the gods. Male masters of exorcism believe that the chants passed on from their ancestors can help grab the attention of gods and get protection from some mysterious power.
其实，在某种意义上说，是人跟神灵的一种对话方式。苗族认定所有的物类，就是所有的包括大树、山石、河流、高山这一类，都有类我生命，就是跟我一样的生命形式，也因此而有跟我一样的欲望、需求，所以它的就表现成为跟类我生命的对话。
The county of Songtao is situated in the eastern part of Guizhou province. It's at the junction of three provinces, namely Sichuan, Guizhou, and Hunan. More than 2,000 years ago, it was called a ghost cube. It's a mysterious area where the Miao ethnic people gathered. Local Miao people believe they're descendants of the Chiyou people. After years of warfare, they finally settled down here from Hunan and Hubei provinces. In the chaos caused by war and the vicious natural environment, the Miao people needed to find spiritual support for living. Therefore, they created these so-called divinities. They believe that each and every species on this planet has its spirits, and masters of exorcism can communicate with everything in nature and thus get protection from divinities. Our photography team cooperates with Long Zhongshu in staging the performance, but more than 10 minutes have passed. There's no sign of two split bamboos combining into one. More than 40 minutes pass. Long Zhongshu gives up.
是怎么回事呢？他还是没有合上啊。
没听到。哪儿没够到？ 原来没抢着嘞，到哪里都没抢着狗嘞。
60-year-old Long Zhongshu says his magic has never failed like this.
我感觉心里不舒服，感觉我这些东西像今天是那个像把我脸麻了，麻我的脸。对，马上成功。
Some other members of our photography team volunteer to assist the old man with his performance. They want to see how it would be like if his magic succeeds. This time, the one who offered to help is a reporter with a local TV station. It's not long before the bamboos undergo some changes. Gradually, the two split bamboos get close to each other. All this while, the hands of the person holding the bamboo have not moved. Within less than 5 minutes, the two split bamboos stick to each other completely. Several minutes later, Long Zhongshu gives an order for the two bamboo pieces to split again. How can the bamboos automatically combine together and split again? We ask this of Wu Guoyu, Director of the Relics Management Bureau in Songtao County. Wu Guoyu was born in a family skillful at exorcism for generations. Although not a master of exorcism himself, he's influenced by what he constantly sees and hears from his childhood. He's now dedicated to the research on the culture of exorcism.
它不是单一的某一因素的某一个方面因素组成的，就是用一种，比如心理的，药物的形成某一种这个术。
So the failure of the performance at the beginning must have something to do with the lack of a certain element. But what is it? Comparing the two performances, we find that the most obvious difference is that the people assisting in the performance had changed. It's said that many exorcism performances can only be effective in places like Guizhou, Hunan, and Sichuan. The skills of exorcism involve some psychological elements. Our photography team, coming from afar, is not influenced by local culture, and we don't really believe in the existence of divinities. Therefore, we didn't accept the implications given by a master of exorcism. Is that the reason that the performance failed at first? Long Zhongshu is preparing for another kind of performance. He says he can use a piece of ordinary cloth to cover a jar filled with water and guarantee that the water inside the jar will not flow out even if the jar is put upside down. Without special treatment, how can a piece of ordinary cloth keep water from flowing out?
那这布有什么特别的地方吗？
随便，你们检查一下吧。
那我试一下。对这个布要施法术是吗？
对。
施了法术以后，这个水还会像现在这样漏下来吗？
不漏了。
Our photography team carefully checks the red cloth, the jar, and the water. They find nothing special. This time, will the performance be successful? Everyone is closely watching each and every step the master takes in performing. He fills the jar with clean water. His students use the red cloth to cover the jar's mouth.
要注意要捆好，你不绑紧它，水就吐下来了。
After the mouth of the jar is covered by cloth, Long Zhongshu begins to make some special gestures towards the jar. At the same time, he is murmuring something. Finally, he turns the jar filled with water upside down on a wooden block. Our camera swiftly follows his move. There's a little bit of water flowing out, but the wooden block is still dry. Obviously, there's not much water flowing out of the jar. Is it the wooden block that has stopped the water inside the jar from flowing out? With assistance from his students, Long Zhongshu ties a rope around the mouth of the jar. He wants to pick up the jar. Our camera closely follows his every move. It's a surprising scene. Is the water still inside the jar? Is it possible that Long Zhongshu got the water out of the jar right in front of us? We place the mouth of the jar in front of our camera for a double check. Through the red cloth, we can see the water is inside, but it doesn't flow out. Why didn't the water flow out?
我想试一下，看我能不能做到，行吗？
We redo the steps taken by Master Long Zhongshu. Fill the jar with water, cover its mouth with a piece of red cloth, and tie it tightly around the mouth. We pay attention to each and every detail, and gradually we turn the jar upside down. We find that the water inside doesn't flow out either. But our photography team has actually no knowledge of magic. How can we succeed in staging the performance? Long Zhongshu tells us that the reason for our success is his presence. He's already given the magic to the cloth, but where did the power of magic come from? In ancient times, masters of exorcism knew how to stage such performances, but they didn't know the reason behind them. Today, we can use science to explain them. When the jar is put upside down, the water inside and the cloth instantly seal the mouth of the jar and prevent air from entering. At this time, the atmospheric pressure outside stops the water in the jar from coming out. Only when someone pricks the cloth, the air outside can get into the jar and the water can flow out. The so-called divinities, of course, don't exist. The success of exorcism is thanks to the careful observation the generations of exorcism masters made in life and the rich knowledge of physics and chemistry. In ancient times, the Miao ethnic group didn't have characters. They passed on their ethnic culture through verbal communication. Exorcism masters in the Miao language mean carriers of Miao ethnic culture. They are also regarded as the smartest people in the ethnic group.